Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Welcome, General. It's a pleasure to see you again. We've had some discussion on this in previous questions about the different geopolitical landscape that we're living in today, and some describe it as a return to the great power competition. Russia and China are deploying far more capable nuclear systems than they were in 2010. What implications do you think that this has on our nuclear forces, and specifically, do you believe it increases their importance and the need to modernize them? You've touched on this, but I'd like to hear your firm answer.
So the key element is always having a ready, reliable strategic deterrent, and we have that today. So even though our adversaries have modernized their nuclear capabilities, we still have an effective deterrent. The question is, will we have an effective deterrent 10 years from now and 20 years from now? The answer to that has to be yes. That's why we have to modernize, and that's why it has to be a significant priority for this country. Deterrence is going to be expensive, but war is always more expensive than deterrence.
The chairman asked you about the platforms and the need to modernize those, and you were referring to the B-1 and the GBSD, the LRSO, the Columbia class, and the need to continue on and meet those deadlines and meet them in a timely manner to make sure that we do have the resources necessary. When we look at the new posture report that's going to be coming out, do you believe that that report should validate those programs?
I do, and I've stated that to the administration. I've stated that to my boss. But the nuclear posture review should look at the entire enterprise. It should also look at things beyond what's in the triad. We should look at what do we have to do to respond to the INF breakout? What do we have to do to respond to a now ground-launched cruise missile? Hypersonic glide vehicles are threats that both Russia and China are building now that are very, very significant in terms of our ability to see them and provide warning. We need to figure out how to deal with those. But I think the baseline is the triad, and the baseline is modernizing the triad.
And in response to Senator Inhofe, you were talking about the escalate, de-escalate in our relationship with Russia. And a former Secretary of Defense, Harold Brown, said in 1979 that the Soviet spending has shown no response to U.S. restraint. When we build, they build. When we cut, they build. From your comments, I would assume that you agree with those remarks from Secretary Brown.
Well, I look at the evidence, and the evidence is when we de-emphasize nuclear weapons, both our primary adversaries, Russia and China, both increased their focus on nuclear weapons, advanced capabilities. They also looked at now threatening space and threatening cyberspace. They went a significant direction in a different deterrent element than we did. So I believe you always have to look at your adversaries and understand what they do, and then make sure you're in a position of strength relative to your adversaries. That's what deterrence is all about.
The chairman also asked you about Russia's violation of the INF Treaty. Do you believe that we need to respond to that violation? The previous administration talked about counterforce options and countervailing capabilities, active defenses, but ultimately took no action to develop those. Do you think that we need to now?
I think every step that Russia takes has to be responded to. This is just the next step, and we have to figure out as a nation how to respond. It's not necessarily a military response, but the nation has to figure out how to respond.
And in this setting, can you tell us which options you believe would be the most effective?
No, ma'am, not in this setting. And it's those choices are my boss's choices as well. And so, but I'll be glad to talk to that in a closed hearing tomorrow.
Okay, thank you. In your opening statement, you note the unauthorized flights of unmanned aerial systems over Navy and Air Force installations. Can you discuss this in greater detail, and are these incidental activities, or do you believe they're deliberate actions?
So I think so far they've been incidental activities, but the fact that they're occurring, and then if you watch what is happening overseas in the CENTCOM theater with the use of lethal UAVs and the use of UAVs for surveillance on the part of a terrorist adversary, I'm very concerned that those same kind of UAVs could be employed against our weapon storage facilities, especially on the nuclear weapon storage facilities. So just in the last week, I've signed out guidance to my forces to give them kind of parameters on how they should respond to if they see a threat UAV or a surveillance UAV, and to give them specific guidance so a young Marine at Kings Bay or an airman at FE Warren doesn't have to worry about what should I be doing when I see that. So I provided very specific guidance. It's classified guidance, but I'd be glad to share that with the committee.
Okay, thank you, sir.